What is going on, Phoenix Esports League family? We are here. Well, we're not quite ready yet as we've had a little bit of delays, but we are here for our week 3 matchup between CSU versus Clown Gaming Spartans. My name is Yanni. I am joined by Arzakali. Arzakali, thanks for being on the cast here tonight. We got a matchup that's between two teams in the middle of the standings.
Yes, that is correct. Both of them going 1-1 so far in the split. And it does look like Clown Gaming is going to utilize one of their subs, a player who goes by Slap Gaming. And he's going to come in tonight as their ADC. That is part of the reason we are a little bit late. So it's going to be interesting to see how the team does bringing in a substitute against California State. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Looking at the raw stats on paper, this looks like California's game to lose. But with a sub, there are far more many possibilities that we could see playing out tonight. And I'm very excited to see what kind of a matchup we get in the bot lane. It's new blood. Even this far into the season, we're getting new blood still. So there's always something exciting to look at here.
Well, let me ask you something. So his name is Slap Games, right?
Yes.
You ever been slapped by a clown before?
No, but only because I have a morbid fear of clowns. I never got near the thing.
Honestly, it's not morbid, but I definitely got a big fear of clowns myself. Let's see if California State University has a fear of clowns. We have a bit of a starting lineup here for you as we are starting to get things together. So they are going to put in slab games in the bot lane, but Clown Gaming, it should be King Kong, Tigsy, Sheep of the Dog, and it'll be slap games, and then Funny Dud. Whereas on the other side for California State University, we've seen them a lot on stream. Egashira, Pikachump, Cowrie, Silver Potato, and Miss Provolution. And you mentioned at the top of the not at the top of the broadcast, but before we got on the air, Arzakali, there's a couple of people on California State University that you have your eye on this game.
Oh, absolutely. The two big players that come to mind are Cowrie and Miss Provolution. Cowrie in the mid lane in week 1 alone did over 40,000 damage. 40,000 damage in week 1 alone. And Miss Provolution, let me pull up the stats right now. I don't want to get this wrong, but she is sitting on a very nice KDA of 10.5. That's 2 kills, 2 deaths, and 19 assists. She is a support that wants to be roaming. She wants to be wherever the fight is, and she's durable enough to actually get into the fight and do her job. So I'm really excited to see what she's doing tonight, along with Cowrie. Both of these players, I think, are going to make up a lot of the backbone of CSU.
Listen, she's calling Miss Provolution for a reason. Not Noovolution, not amateur Lucian, no. Pro for a reason. Consummate professional down in the bot lane at support. And we did, you mentioned it, Cowrie, frankly, just insane. Made really crazy plays that I personally was not expecting to see in a league like this, especially early on. And I was pleasantly surprised by him. Like, this is some high level play coming out of the mid lane. The rest of the roster, though, is pretty solid. Pikachump, a bit of a meme, can be Pikachump or Pikachamp, depending on the game. Egashira has been pretty stalwart along with Silver Potato. So when you take a look at a team like this that's in the middle of the standings, it kind of surprises me that that's where they're at, because it seems like a solid roster. This could be a huge game for them as candidates to try to move up in the standings.
Absolutely. And, that just goes to speak to the overall strength of all of the teams competing in Phoenix, that they are mid roster here. It's because they've got some real powerhouses to go up against. Never Lucky Gaming comes to mind. The Bastion team comes to mind. So this is where they're getting a chance here to really show what they're made of, and hopefully show these teams sitting at the top of the rankings right now that they are something to be feared. On the other side, Clown is right there with them as well. The Clown Spartans want to show that they are not someone to be laughed at, despite, being clowns. They're not going to clown school anymore. This is the big leads. They got their makeup on, and they want to show us why we should all be scared of clowns.
Listen, they're trying to take people to school, send them to clown college. But you did mention the teams in the middle of the standings here. It's Misfits, it's CSU, it's Clown Gaming, it's Orbit Gaming, it's I Don't Like Sand. Misfits have 3 wins, but the rest of the teams that I named have 2 wins, right? So every win there is super important. The top 3 spots are going to be really hard to track down because they're all 6-0 right now. But those middle spots, I mean, CSU is ranked what? Ranked 5th right now, right? So they're right in the thick of things. But being able to solidify their position, maybe move up to 4th, could go a long way here. And that's why every game in this league is important, because your wins and losses are not based off of what you do in a best of 3, but how many individual games you win.
Speaking of individual games, we should note that because of the lateness, there will be a 1 ban penalty on game 1 for the Clown Gaming Spartans. That's just a bit of a rules making note as we are preparing to get into the draft here any moment. I believe it's starting now, actually.
Yep, we are into the draft. Looks like Clown Gaming will be on the blue side and CSU will be on the red side. So, first pick available for Clown Gaming. So, there are a lot of really strong picks that don't necessarily need to have very strong pilots on them. Like, you can always pick a Maokai or something like that. So, we'll have to see what these teams get on the table. So, what are your priority bans here?
Priority bans, that's a great question. Off of CSU side, we want to ban really any comfort picks for Lucky. If they're looking at Lucky's roster right now, you want to make sure that he feels like he's the odd man out. He's coming in as a substitute ADC in the bot lane for the Spartans, so you really want to try and make him feel as uncomfortable as possible, but that is not what we're seeing here. It looks like CSU is saying, actually, we're not too worried about him. We are more worried with our jungle and with Anivia, who is infamously a great flex pick between the mid lane and the support. Anivia is just such a good pick for either one, either going into burst or going into crowd control builds. She is just really dangerous. So that is just a good common sense ban in the meta right now. And we'll see the Spartans paying some love also to the mid lane. Aurelia can get flexed to mid lane very easily. Silas, of course, lives there. You could also maybe take those as some top lane bans, but let's see what the Spartans are doing. They're going to draft Seraphine to start, it looks like. We're getting the hover there. Where are you thinking for Seraphine?
Could really go anywhere, mid or in the bot lane. It's a pretty strong pickup overall. One thing to mention about that Anivia ban, it's something that Sheba the dog plays, but one of the underrated champions that got affected by the buffs that came out for tier items for AP champions and for that Rod of Ages. But the Seraphine will be locked in for the Spartans, so don't really know where that one is going to go. You have some options here. Remember, they've got this fresh player down in the bot lane as their sub. It could be their substitute option. Maybe they feel comfortable on Seraphine.
It could be. Seraphine is also just a very safe support pick, and we're going to see the answer out of CSU is going to be Morgana. Morgana wants to lock Seraphine down, deal a lot of damage. It's going to be really hard for a Seraphine to really move around that bot lane if she's always going to be worried about Morgana. Of course, Morgana could get flexed to the mid lane and just be there to wait for the jungle to show up. Oh, hi, I'm here now. Morgana roots you, puts down a nice little field of damage, and waits for the jungle to finish you off. And, speaking of CSU picking up Rek'Sai, who I haven't heard be relevant in a hot minute. When was the last time you even heard of Rek'Sai coming up in conversation in the jungle?
So Rek'Sai the last couple of seasons has shown up here and there as like a pick that's just outside of the meta, but it is something that Pikachump really likes to play, so they are going to pick it up. Pikachump is a fairly accomplished Maokai player, and I'm very surprised they didn't go into that, but they'll give that one right over to Tiggsy on the side of Clown Gaming, who also has practiced a fair bit of Maokai. Really the de facto best champion in the jungle right now, with his 2-item power spike. Everybody's been raving about him. You couple him with the Seraphine ultimate, and I see that they're hovering a Varus, which would present a very strong lane and give you more CC on top of it.
Absolutely. Varus is very easy to play in that bot lane, especially with the Seraphine backup. And as I say that, it looks like we're actually going to go for an Ezreal bot lane. I'm not exactly sure what Lucky has on his radar right now for the Ezreal. CSU, very quick response going into the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa plus Morgana equals a lot of pain. Ezreal is going to want to stay as far back as possible, but if he just gets caught out one time, that's going to be enough for a Kai'Sa to really turn into a feast champion here. As we get into the second round of bans, CSU banning out the Jax there, looking towards top lane now, want to make it a bit more secure for their top laner, which begs a question. What are we thinking about mid lane right now as we see the Ornn getting banned out from the Spartans?
Well, everybody wants to get their counter picks in, so only one person can actually get it down. I'm interested to see if they go after some of these mid laners. No, they banned out the Aurelia early. Cowrie has a Zed available that they've got incredibly high amount of games on, that they even played last time out that they were streamed. That was fantastic. So I'm interested to see if they're going to go after those champions, start really going deeper and deeper into the pool, or if they just determine, you know what, we can counter the Zed, we don't care. A Mumu ban coming through. So it looks, that kind of surprises me, right? I guess they're thinking that, okay, we're going to, you know, ban out the support here, or maybe the off chance that Maokai goes elsewhere, or they're banking on a Seraphine mid here. I don't know if that's exactly what I'd be thinking here for Sheba the dog, is they've got more options than just a Seraphine. You see the Victor is going to get hovered, and it's going to be banned away. Cowrie had a fantastic game on it. You know, we brought that up earlier.
Yeah, Victor is so strong right now with the Rod of Ages and the tier buffs that you mentioned. And Amumu, I think you're right. It does feel like Amumu is going to be more of an expectation ban. We expect Seraphine to be their flex pick here, and we want to take that away from them. We want to lock them into doing something they don't want to do in the mid lane, because CSU just locked in Darius for their top lane. Darius is not a pushover going up against, looks like it might be Cassante or Volley here. Both of them.
Oh, it could even be the Rock.
It could be the Rock and the Hard Place. It's so interesting to see these hovers.
Doesn't matter which one they pick, it's going to be impactful. They're going to opt into the Volibear here. So this Volibear-Darius matchup promises to at least be interesting, but as we know, Darius, one of the strongest top laners mano a mano.
Absolutely, especially in the lower leagues. Darius is a monster. Volibear can be too. And I think it's important to note, Volibear can also flex into the jungle. So far, the Spartans have 3 possible flexes: Seraphine, Maokai, and Volibear. But with the Ahri lock for the mid lane, I do think that this is going to be a very conventional draft. Volibear in the top lane, Maokai in the jungle, Ahri in the mid lane, and so on. And now we get to see CSU. They fought hard for this in the draft. What is their mid lane answer to our Foxy friend?
Hey, listen. People were playing Ahri in the bot lane, AD Ahri bot recently.
Oh, quick Zed.
You know, but
Zed.
Yeah, you know that Zed was gonna come through for the side of Cowrie. They want to show up and they want to make things happen and be fancy. His team compositions are set here for both of these squads. The CSU composition, though, I have some problems. They have some really good pick potential with Morgana, with Zed, and even Rek'Sai, but past that, things are going to be really difficult. How is this Darius expected to get into a fight?
You know, that's a great question. I'm not really sure myself, because there isn't a whole lot of great engage tools for a team fighting perspective. If you're talking about an assassin perspective, Rek'Sai can jump in whenever he wants. Kai'Sa can follow that up. Zed can follow that up. Morgana walks in about 5 minutes later to help clean up. And Darius maybe at the front line at that point, or he may be across the map. Maybe Darius is just a split pusher here. Unsure, but it does look like CSU's strategy here is to go for the throat and just hang on for dear life while they're getting shaken around. If they can do that, if they can send the Spartan squad into a state of panic, not knowing where everything is, always warding, becoming anxious in their own lane, that's where CSU wants to be with this composition. But as we get into the late game, I'm not sure that's enough, especially when we get into the front to back style fights around the Baron, around the Dragons, around a possible siege in the base. It's going to be a lot harder for CSU to open those up. On the other hand, the Spartans have all the engaged tools, all of them. Maokai Roots, Seraphine Charms, Volibear Ultimates. This Spartan team wants to be together, and they want to just plow into your team, split you up, and then work on whoever they choose. Ari gonna come in and provide the damage. Ezreal gonna come in and provide the damage. Seraphine's just gonna be there to heal them the whole time, while Maokai and Volibear absorb the damage. They have a very good front to back, but in the early stage of the game, a front to back composition may not help them a lot, especially against Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai is well known for those early scales. She is a beast in the early game. So that is really what we're going to have to look out for here. If you're on the side of Cloud Gaming, where is Rek'Sai? We're playing Marco Polo, and the Polo is Rek'Sai here.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to make good use of tracking the Rek'Sai, getting plenty of wards down, because Maokai, although he's got good gank potential, is just generally a power farming jungler right now, trying to get to 6, trying to get those items as fast as possible. Maybe you're making something happen here or there, but these lanes overall, I think, are pretty good for the Spartans. Volibear Darius is the only one that seems a little coin flippy. Seraphine Ezreal shouldn't have any problem dealing with Morgana Kai'Sa in the bot lane. Your biggest worry is that Seraphine gets hit by a straight binding. And I'd imagine this Arya is going to have a fairly easy time with Zed in the early game, but we mentioned about how CSU's pick composition, they've got really strong pick tools. My question to you is, who are they actually picking off here? The only person on the side of the Spartans that isn't A, tanky, or B, doesn't have an escape is Seraphine.
Very true. I expect bot lane to be under a lot of pressure this game, because that is going to be their weakest point. We saw it before we started the stream in the lobby. Both teams know Cloud is going to be subbing in for their ADC. That's a bad place to be, and it feels like CSU wants to put a full composition of pressure on that, not just in the bot lane itself. They want Rek'Sai to be popping up behind Ezreal. They want Darius to be able to frontline and just walk into the Seraphine while their bot lane stands back and gets off some pot shots. This is what they want to see, and that is what I would expect to see the play around. Even Zed coming down to gank the bottom lane, I think, is not impossible here. Maokai, like you mentioned, is a power farmer up to level 6. That is a lot of opportunity for Zed to just stroll down to the bot lane almost completely unopposed and just see what he can pick up wherever he wants. That's what CSU wants to do. Clown Gaming, they really need to prevent that. They need lots of bot lane protection. I would expect to see Maokai hovering around there as much as possible. I would expect to see Ari, whenever she sees Zed is missing, Ari is coming down as well. And like we were talking about before the game, the story of the stats is CSU is normally a pretty safe team. They don't have a lot of deaths in game. They do have a good number of kills and assists, but they're not dying a bunch. Clown Gaming, on the other hand, they are a very feast or famine team. They want to be in the scrap all the time. And we really see a reversal of that here. At least it feels like from the compositions. Who knows what we'll see when we actually get into game? I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be a mixed bag, especially with the question mark down in the bot lane, but CSU wise to try to focus their efforts down there. And again, when you take a look at these compositions, you mentioned earlier that Darius could be on the split push. Who's going to match the Darius if they just decide, you know what, Ayashiro, we're just going to send you in a side lane? How are you going to match that as Volibear? Like, it's not going to happen. So maybe it's Ari?
I would think that the only person who can match a Darius consistently is going to be Maokai, which means Darius might just go unanswered for a lot of the game. He might just not be, he might just be able to farm top lane until his team needs him to come in for a team fight, because I don't see a good answer here. Ezreal isn't a good answer. Seraphine definitely isn't. Ari maybe could do some things with her charm and her mobility, but I don't see that working out in the long run. One wrong click and you run straight into Darius. That's not going to be super consistent. Volibear, unless he goes full tank, isn't really going to be able to deal with this either. I really only see Maokai being able to answer that split push, and if that's the case, that could get really messy for Clown Spartans.
Yeah, you lose out on all your engagement potential. And Darius has an axe for a reason. He is ready to chop down a tree. But we are in the spectator delays. We're going to chop this over to a break. And when we return, we'll be on the rift for game 1 of CSU versus Clown Gaming Spartans.
And welcome back, everybody. We are getting into game one of this series. In the blue corner, we have the Cloud Spartan gaming team, and in the red corner, we have the California State University East Bay team. And it looks like East Bay is looking to head to the west. Looks like a full invade here into the southern jungle. And the question is it just for wards? It looks like
it's just for wards. It's just for wards, man. I kind of expected Miss Provolution to drop down a binding. When you've got Morgana Darius, use your summoners, flash at them. There's an opportunity there for a binding and an apprehend. You've got enough damage out of your four champions, even Rek'Sai too, to be able to burst somebody out, even if it's a Maokai. And so I'm pretty disappointed by that.
Yeah, and now we're returning to the classic kind of 4-point defense. And I was really excited for that. I wanted to see a bit of a kerfuffle at the 30-second mark. But no, everyone's just going to do a little handshake. We swap some wards and just get into the game, I guess.
What's really important is that the ward got put down from Clown Gaming Spartans onto that blue buff. They spotted them out early because of that Maokai ward. So they knew, all right, we have an opportunity. Let's get this ward down. Let's get this vision, see where both sides are starting. Jungler starting on the bottom side of the map. Always an opportunity for a level 2 gank, perhaps, down to the bot lane, but I'd imagine we'll see a collision course up top.
Yep, and Darius right now, Egg Shira, is just trying to play some mind games. No other reason to just stand in the brush and knock Volibear back. It's mind games, it's just denying that little bit of wave, just to prove I'm actually in charge up here. This is my top lane now. We do see them trading in the bottom lane. A lot of good poke coming out, actually, onto Silver Potato. Almost down to almost a third of his health now, just from the poke alone. You love to see that. It looks like Slap Games is coming in ready to fight. He is really ready to fight.
Shifting forward, baby. I mean, it's to be expected. Once you've taken control, why not get out there, shift, and start going after him? I'm a little sad there was no auto attacks gotten off there, but we talked about Ezreal and Seraphine. They're gonna have pushing power. That's been the big thing about bot lane, whether it be in pro player, amateur play, is pushing power. And we see a gank up in the top lane. Here comes Tiggsy.
Speaking of pushing power, Maokai coming in. He's going to root down the Darius, push him back. There is no way Agashira can get out of this, except by just plain killing him. It'll be a 1-for-1 trade in the top lane.
Wait, it's not over yet!
I spoke too soon! Here comes Pika-Chump to prove he is a Pika-Champ!
Let's go! Blood in the top lane. What did I say earlier? A collision course up there. All these combustible elements. It ends up being a 2-for-1 for CSU East Bay. And but the thing is, they're still losing on the bottom side, right? Things are not going well there. Pikachu might need to get a bailout over there.
Yep, speaking of bailing.
There's Cowrie.
Oh my gosh, Cowrie moving in just to prove that he is still a little bit in control of the mid lane. A good charm every once in a while. Speaking of charms, Seraphine definitely has her own. Gonna almost get the kill on a Silver Potato there. How much HP? I have to know.
Not 100, but these teams are out for blood. Look!
Yes, in the mid lane.
Oh!
We're gonna see Rek'Sai.
Get the auto!
Oh my gosh. Yes, Cowrie manages to get just that last bit of damage. It's gonna be a 1-for-1 trade in the mid lane.
Pikachu lived! What is going on?
Everyone's fighting right now, and it's hard to keep up. Slap Games just did a full tower dive to get Miss Provolution, and we...
The level 3 tower dive!
My prayers have been answered. We have a full kerfuffle here, folks. 3 for 3 right now. Even game state. No one's winning anything, but you know who's coming top.
Round 2!
It's Tiggsy.
Round 2 from Tiggsy! Get in there!
The tree will not be felled.
Gonna
chase him back under the turret. Volibear's gonna get a chance to just get a little bit of CS there.
Well,
Maybe we're gonna calm down for a second.
We finally have a moment to breathe here, Arzakali. Let me tell you, Clown Gaming might be on one side, but everybody has shown up in the Clown cars everywhere. I've never seen a Seraphine and Ezreal dive a turret at level 3 and get out without dying. But you know what? That's exactly what happened. What's even crazier is Sheba only got 1 kill in that mid lane, and Cowrie is just taking Sheba to school. She's on the top of her game right now.
Speaking of that dive, not only did they get out alive, they got out with a kill. It was fruitful. That is even crazier to me, as we see a little bit of warding going on for the Cloud Drake right now. Looks like that might be where CSU's looking at the moment.
You got to look at the map posturing here. Tigsy has a bit of an advantage. Pikachu not really confident in their ability to fight this early. They are up a level right now, but it looks like they will secure.
Gets the scuttle.
Yep, the scuttle gets secured. That's a big pickup there. Is you love the extra warding, but more fighting in the top lane.
Egashira getting down pretty low, but it looks like we're just going to do a handshake. Speaking of getting low, Morgana is going to get a good binding onto Funny Dud there. Not much going to come out of it, just a little bit more of pressure in the bot lane. Oh, we do see Kaori living up to that 40k damage from week 1, really making Shiba work to live, and he is going to go down.
I told you, Kaori is on the top of her game. No ignite needed, and it's going to be up next time around. King Kong could dive this. Hold on.
Speaking of diving, oh my gosh, you're right. King Kong, easy kill on Egashira, who did not respect the bear.
Listen, you got to respect the bear because you bear craps in the woods. I don't know the rest of that expression, but we see a solo kill up in the top lane. I thought things were going to go the way of Egashira because Doran's Ring, not necessarily the greatest item to go into a Darius, but you have to as a Volibear, and it just ended up working out.
There's a lot about this game so far that just feels like it's ending up working despite really not having a reason to work. This bot lane, for example, we're going to see them rotate up to take a 7-minute Cloud Drake.
Yeah, they worked really hard to make sure they could get an advantage in that bot lane. Mid lane, obviously going down is not what you want to see, but because Kaori had to recall, that means they've got the advantage on the map. It's a pretty free Drake for the side of Clown Game.
The rework, it is a little bit more of a meaningful Drake, out of combat move speed and slow resistance, both of which are very, very helpful, you know, especially against that Darius. Half of his kit is slow, so Volley now has a little bit more help in the top lane, which makes that matchup just all the more interesting.
Yeah, and Sheen is going to start getting damage in, but take a look at the suite of items. We have double lethality items for Pikachu and Kaori, and they are ready and in position. Nobody has spotted them out. A stray binding or something could be huge.
It looks like the call is now. Pikachu moving in. There's the tunnel. There's the pop under the turret. Kaori on the backside. That's going to be 2 kills.
Oh!
And for 2 kills! It is still an even trade.
It's an execute. It's an execute. Don't freak out. They do burn the heal, though, which means it's not a good job of knowing how heated up that turret was.
Yeah, that turret got real heated real fast, and Silver just kind of underestimated that. Speaking of underestimating turrets, Egashira going real down, having to flash out of the way. He's only at 100 HP right now. The bear moves in. King Kong gets his kill.
Egashira had Ghost. What are you doing?
I don't know. No one's respecting turrets. No one's respecting bears. This game is going bananas.
This game is going straight into Kaori's damage profile. 4-1-0 after that bot lane scuffle. Listen, when you are staring down a 4-1 Zed, you are in a bad way. Things are not going the way you want them to. We see the Rift Herald getting started up again here. Tigsy doing a fairly good job of trying to maintain control of the game despite the team on the bottom side of the map struggling.
And that's going to be Herald going over to the Clowns as well. So far, complete objective control in the game. And I think part of that is their ward game. Very nice ward game coming out on the map.
It's been pretty solid so far, especially that top side. They've lit that thing up like a Christmas tree, which you love to see. And you know, you don't really, they've done a good job of warding on the bot side as well. And that just goes to show when you get pressure, but engagement.
Pressure, there was that errant binding we talked about. Slap just moves in a bit too far, and now Funny Dud is running for his life, and it's not even funny. But here comes Tigsy. He's too late to save anyone, but is he in time to get himself a little something back? The answer looks like it's gonna be no. He's gonna just burn that ultimate. Very low cooldown, though, so not that much given over for that move.
I must say, I'm kind of surprised. I think Tigsy didn't know the extent of their own damage, but as an Ezreal, when you shift forward, you got to be careful. Miss Provolution's in trouble.
Speaking of shifting forward, Provolution goes to check a bush and finds a tree, but a good binding and a Kaisa on the back will push the tree away.
Sheba's in trouble now. The Zed
Speaking
ultimate.
of trouble, Sheba is in the mid lane. He's going down.
Oh!
He's going down. That's going to be both flashes.
Oh!
Revolution gets charmed down, and now Silver Potato running for the hill. Rek'Sai, Pikachu, he's too late to save anyone.
Did they turn?
He just got to run away.
Oh, man. Pikachu just a step too slow in the bot lane. Doesn't matter, though. They're happy with their mid laner's performance so far. They get to take a little bit of a breather because my mid laner's 5-1. I don't really care. Riftail getting dropped in the bottom lane, I believe. Yeah, that one guy is going to try to give all that gold over to Ezreal.
Slap, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Slab Games has had an interesting game so far.
Uh-oh, I think we're not respecting the bear. No, Egashira will back up. He is.
It's a 2-level lead for King Kong.
It's a scary bear up there. Speaking of scary, Pikachu moving in on Slap Games.
Slap is dead.
He's dead. He's dead and gone, and now they are hunting for a little singer, but she is. They're gonna decide to let her get away, push the wave into tower instead.
Yeah,
Gets
you got
Kaisa
slapped.
some return gold.
You got slapped, and you got to be careful around that because this dragon is coming up shortly. The death timers are fairly low. Well, Cowrie could be in trouble here.
He's getting hunted by the bear and a tree. And
she's
a
fine.
fox.
She's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. But one thing that's not fine for Clown Gaming is that CSU, they have all shown up to try to take this Drake. Even Darius is committed from the bottom lane.
Absolutely, yeah. And without a teleport, that's a pretty big commit onto a Hex Drake. Just a lone Hex Drake is not that powerful, but it's still better than nothing.
Well, the cooldown reduction you get from it is pretty sweet. You get attack speed too. I'm sorry, I'm dating myself. Cooldown reduction. Ability haste. It's pretty good. It's one of the better ones to at least have in your pocket compared to some other dragons. But, you know, again, as you mentioned, it's a big commit. And King Khan is just going to increase their level lead and get more plates.
Absolutely. And we see Egashira trying to rotate back up through the top jungle, but it looks like the forest is ready.
Oh, no.
There's a bear in a tree in a bush, and there's a man with an axe. It looks like he actually does get away from that, though. It looks like he had to burn his ghost to do it, but he will get out.
Hey, that's why he was saving Ghost. Egashira knew that with, you know, in a 3-minute time frame that something evil was going to be afoot, and Pikachu trying to spread some evil into the bot lane here, unnoticed.
Yes, Pikachu looking for it again. Morgana just trying to find any kind of binding to justify it, and it's pretty telegraphed actually.
This Revolution,
yeah,
I'm confused. Took a lot of damage there. You'll die to an Ezreal if it hits.
It did not hit, but just barely sidestepped. Yeah, that was. I'm not exactly sure what the idea was.
I'm gonna call it suspect. You know, eventually, when you walk up that far, you eventually give away that, hi, we're trying to do something here. We've been pushed in all game, and now all of a sudden we're pushing toward you. Something's not right here.
Yeah, exactly. And
no.
Speaking of pushing in. Oh, that is
she was dead.
Hit from Pikachu, and now
wait,
the fox
the
is
flash.
getting hunted down.
Oh, Pikachu's gonna die.
Doesn't matter. We're not respecting turrets.
You gotta respect the turrets. It's still the early game. We're only 14 minutes in. Respect the turrets.
Speaking of turrets, the bot lane respected the turrets so much it's gone now. They respected it out of existence.
I wouldn't exactly call that respect.
Well,
that's definitely disrespect.
To like the turret to respect the turret, but anyway, now that's a big problem. That's a pre-15-minute turret coming in for Clown Gaming, and I think I'm gonna have to eat some humble pie here. We were talking earlier. I thought CSU was the clear favorite, but I'm not so sure anymore.
I don't know. CSU's got Cowrie, and Cowrie's 5-1, and Cowrie's dispensing damage in the top lane.
And now Cowrie is 6-1. There you go.
Told you. Listen, you got Cowrie, you got a chance, especially when she is 6-1 and
Speaking
is
of
dispatched
Cowrie,
this Ari.
gonna get found by the tree now. Gonna get away, but the roots will hold her down. It's a level 8 Maokai though. There's
She
not
doesn't
a
have
whole
the
lot of
damage.
And here is a man with an axe. Oh, and there's a fox as
Oh,
well.
no.
So Agashira getting a big heal off of that swing, but now it is their fight to lose. They're getting chased by a tree. Cowie gonna poke them back. And now on the other side, what, Pikachu, what are you doing? You don't have the votes.
Oh, Pikachu doesn't care what you think.
Pikachu has the votes. He's gonna be able to get the fox and get away with it. That was very skillful. I honestly did not think that was gonna go that way.
What in the Michael Jackson did I just witness? Because that's a smooth criminal right there. Pikachu in a 2v1 that they have no business winning. Gets in there, drops the ultimate, slides right out of the DMs like it wasn't an issue.
Yanni, honest question for you. Smooth criminal, cooldown reduction. Are you 50?
I'm 27, okay?
I have no room to talk. I'm 25 and I understood those references.
Listen, I'm closer to 50 than you are. And listen, at least I'm not casting with Romeo. Romeo's 19.
You know what? Fair enough. And you know what else is fair? We've got our next Drake coming up pretty soon here. And it is that... Which Drake is this one? I completely...
It's Chemtech. It is Chemtech Drake coming up in 40 seconds. And I thought that maybe we would see a soul, but I don't know.
Oh, geez. Speaking of souls, that was nearly very scary for Cowrie. Just one good charm there. That could have been very scary.
Yeah, having Cowrie down for this dragon fight would be massive. A little bit of a feather in the cap to help turn the fight, but it's a 4,500 gold lead, and Cowrie is just on the hunt, but now has a black shield on her. Didn't even factor that in at all. We didn't mention that at all.
No, that black shield is a very important shield. And speaking of important shields, Agashira acting as a very important one right here. Just making sure Volibear stays distracted in the top lane. I spoke too soon.
Not a good job of distracting. Here comes the ultimate.
Yes, and now we see a bit of cleanup from CSU. Cowrie getting low, gonna have to retreat here, but the kill does come out. Oh, that's getting real close. Unfortunately, all they found was Fuddy Dud, which right before I come Drake Dragon fight is going to be one of your lesser picks here. They're all looking very low. Oh, speaking of low, Pikachu's gonna rush right in.
No!
Followed by Silver Potato. Both of them are gonna go down before I can even blink. And now we see Slap Games hunting down Miss Provolution, gonna force the flash out.
Oh, man, wait, they're looking for more. Ooh. Just trying to go onto the Drake. That was such was a confusing play there by Pikachu. Pikachu felt too big for the bridges, but Cowrie's respawned.
This one is far too close for me to be able to stop talking because Cowrie has no fear whatsoever. Gonna dive right into the dragon pit. Gonna find Tigsy. Gonna get charmed out and give his life for it, though. 1 for 1. Was that really worth it?
No, not at all. I think Cowrie was expecting that she was going to be able to blow up the Maokai before that dragon went down, and because of that smite, and then Maokai was able to gain at least a little bit more HP because of a level up. But ultimately dispatched the tree, but then got charmed again, and it was just a disaster after that.
We've spoken a lot about trees, but oh gosh, I was seeing King Kong pathing up to Egashira. I was so ready to talk about bears.
Listen, they've got the jungle composition for sure. You've got everything you would want. You've got fox, you've got a tree, you've got a bear, and then you've got the couple that goes camping.
Very true. But, I'm starting to get as anxious as we were talking about maybe Clown Gaming getting, because at this point we're 27 kills in 20 minutes. This is ridiculously messy on both sides. It's it's real. I was not expecting this to go this way at all.
But did you expect a team named Clown Gaming to play a clean game?
I did not. That is fair. That is fair. Speaking of clean, it
Pikachu
looks like
could get
Pikachu-
caught out here.
He is getting caught out here. He's between the bear and the couple, and he's getting poked very nicely. But he always has a tunnel to get away. And, it's just so scary to be anywhere outside of your own jungle right now.
Yeah, and it's just Pikachu does so much damage, but just doesn't take it nearly as well. And it's starting to become a little problematic. We mentioned that this team composition from CSU isn't exactly tanky.
No, not at all. And speaking of how tanky they are, Shiba gonna come in on Kaori. Kaori just tried to take a turret, didn't respect the turret, and didn't respect the fox. That's gonna be a huge chunk of damage, but they are just gonna handshake it.
Well, yeah, if you're Shiba, you can't exactly go any further. If Kaori dodges a skill shot with the ultimate, you're just dead.
True. That's true. Oh, and now we see, there's so much skirmishing right on that jungle line. It's getting me nervous. I'm nervous for them right now. That's how crazy this game has been.
It's close, but Miss Provolution is doing a good job with those black shields to ensure nobody gets caught out where they shouldn't be. I'd like to see them, not overstep nearly as much. And I'd like to see them help out this Darius a little bit. I mean, King Kong has not joined a fight yet and is going to be a problem when they do. 4-2-0, has the Iceborne Gauntlet, and against this composition that does all physical damage, is just going to feast.
A theoretical question for you, Yanni. The Black Shield out of Morgana.
We got no time for questions.
Oh, we don't. Kaori coming in, and that is going to be a lot of damage. Slap game.
Oh, looking for two.
Very quickly, but now he's gonna just pop out into the tree, and Sarah. Oh, that is going to be another kill on the funny
no.
Too many have finally popped up now.
No.
Tigsy's gonna go down as well. The tree has been felled. CSU is still in this game, and they're hunting for bear.
Yeah, see, the C in CSU actually stands for Kaori State University. 10, 2, and 2 right now. 2.5 items. You see the pings going down on the Baron. They've taken a little bit to start this up, but it's a 5v2. Who cares? Just go and do it. The problem is they don't have a tank. Kaori is going to die to this thing.
Kaori State University putting on a clinic today and getting shut down from just a random, almost out of nowhere. And now we see them coming back onto the bear. King Kong overpushed, and the man with the axe is going for the fox. Is he able to clean Ari up is only the real question here. He's able to clean it up, but now he went too far as well. Darius is not respecting. He's getting the double kill though.
That was fantastic by Egashira, and that all started because of a split call. Shiba went in with the ultimate, popped Kaori, and then decided, you know what, I want to take it, that's it. But King Kong wanted to go in and was able to jump onto 4 people, but was unable to finish it off because they got knocked up. And if Shiba was there, that was a 4v2 that I think they might have had a chance.
Either way, they did stave off the Baron for now, and really, I think Clown Gaming just needed that to happen. Off of that last fight, you couldn't give them the Baron. That would have flipped this real fast.
Interesting item choice that I just noticed here by the Maokai. They've opted into the Radiant Virtue instead of the Leandri's Anguish. They're looking to go a little bit tankier, looking to transcend and, give everybody the extra ability, haste, and healing, as opposed to just going into full damage. And, that's been the big strength of Maokai, where you just go damage.
Full damage. We are setting up for a Drake fight here. Kaori doing her best to make it happen, and that is going to be Shiba going down. The dog has been put out for the night.
Popped like a balloon there, floating in the winds, and another kill for Kaori. Looking for more on the side. Without the ultimate, they're still incredibly dangerous.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that ultimate is already halfway back. It is way too fast to really be able to push in on this. CSU has control over the Dragon Pit now, and I'm just waiting to see who blinks first in this matchup. And it looks like, the Vine's coming down. Miss Provolution gonna get caught out by it, but she makes sure that Darius isn't. They are going to secure this Chem Drake, and there is the call. The bear goes in, and this fight got split real fast. And I don't really know who's winning at the moment, but it looks like Kaori is definitely not. Well, I misspoke. Kaori was winning for at least 5 seconds there. And now we see Silver Potato in a duel with King Kong. And Rek'Sai, he won his other side of the fight. Now he's coming in to try and help. It's not enough, though. Silver Potato's going to go down, and Pikachu is now running from the fox. That's too much burst. That is going to be the full CSU team going down over this dragon that they took.
What did I mention earlier? Once King Kong joins a fight, there is going to be problems. The full physical damage team was unable to take down this big-ass bear, man. Like, Kaori had nothing left in the tank. A couple of auto attacks came so close, but then it was all up to Silver Potato and just literally doing peanuts for damage onto this Volibear. Absolutely took over that fight.
Really thought Silver Potato was sneezing there for a second. I wasn't sure what to call it. Yeah, but that, and another great part of that, like we were talking about before the game, is that front-to-back comp versus the assassin comp that CSU has. We're at that point in the game now where that's starting to matter a lot.
Yeah, it is making a large impact in this game, and if you are CSU, you have to feel a little uncomfortable after that. You do see that now Kaori has finally completed their penetration item, but they're the only one, and you can't burst out a Volibear.
You really can't. True things have been said here. You cannot burst out a Volibear. And you know, at this point, I feel like I need to get back to my question from earlier, which is this. What interaction does Morgana's Black Shield have against Seraphine's ultimate charm? And if the question is, it can only protect one person, which I believe we saw earlier.
Yes.
Who do you pick to protect in that scenario? That could really sway the game.
Kaori, you put the ball in your star player's hands.
And I don't like how close they're getting. Every time she gets that close, I have to wonder, is she about to try and jump a bush?
Yeah, she's gone full Honey Badger right now. She doesn't really give a F, you know? When you're 11, 4, and 5, you don't really care. Kaori has shown that she can blow up anybody on this team sans Volibear. And if you get to Volibear in the middle of a fight and you can chunk them to half, the rest of the team can chew through the rest of that health bar.
Yeah, and don't forget Darius has his execution there. Speaking of execution, Kaori is going to try and move in on the Seraphine. And there comes the ultimate. The roots come down. Darius gets delayed just enough. And Miss Provolution taking a lot of damage on that back end. Gonna take all the damage. In fact, there's the charm coming out. And now Volibear is cleaning up Kaisa and Darius. It's two-man standing. Kaori is still somewhere. She's retreating. That's where she is. And that is gonna be a full 4 for Baron.
Oh, man, that was a bad call by CSU. Kaori getting a little too aggressive. Got the damage down. Decided, I'm already here. Let's go. Then snaps back when they still have the Black Shield on them, gets charmed on the back end, and then the Ezreal lands, so Kaori has no shot at getting back in the fight, and Egashira is going in like, I'm Darius, where's the rest of my team? Your team wasn't showing up, they got rooted up or taken out.
Absolutely, and you know, we were just talking about how Kaori's looking like a honey badger. You really need more badgers around you to make that work.
Yeah, now Kaori is in the stage where they give a F, right? Now you need to be very careful and maybe get the split pushing game going here. You have a Darius who can't stand up to this Volibear, but if you send both of them on a split, they aren't going to be able to deal with one. The only problem is you have to contend with this Baron now, and there's not a whole lot of wave clear on the side of CSU.
There is not. That is another big problem staring them in the face, is that they've got to deal with the Baron now, and they can't even really clean up the minions quickly. This is going to turn into a siege in short order, unless Clown Gaming decides to use this Baron to secure another Chemdrake for themselves.
It's not a bad option, especially because Chemdrake will give you so much value on this Volibear. If they ever get low, takes even less damage and dispenses more, it's going to be a big problem. So they will look to put themselves on soul point here with the jungler and the top laner up on top. I expect this one will be pretty free for the side of Clown Gaming.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to contest. Pings are coming out for top turret. It is not long for this world, but it stayed around a little bit longer than that, Drake.
The gold lead has now shrunk to about 1,500 for the side of Clown Gaming. They've done well to keep themselves in at the bottom side of the map. You know, it didn't exactly struggle. Slab Games had an okay game, but really Shiba being able to kind of stabilize themselves this game and allow King Kong to bring their advantage to the rest of the map has been great for Clown Gaming.
You know, if you're CSU right now, what are you thinking about your draft? Because the thought has just occurred to me that if this was a Braum instead of a Morgana in the support lane, this could be going very differently.
It really could. Braum could get poked out even worse, though. Like this, you could think the lane might even be way worse. Now, sure, Braum's shield can block a Seraphine ultimate, which is huge. It can block a good portion of the Maokai ultimate, so there is a lot of utility to it. I like where they went to. They just seemed to lean a little too hard into poke and not as much into team fight. And they did get a few of those 1-for-nothings, but didn't really push their advantage on them.
The 1-for-nothings they got were quickly outweighed by the 1-for-1s or the 2-for-1s that we saw on the other half of that. So it just did not pay off in the long run. And now we're 30 minutes in looking for, where is our poke coming from? How do we get back into these team fights? I don't know. I don't think there is an answer here.
Yeah, the composition kind of falls apart when it gets to this point. Darius isn't exactly a Thanos champion, so he's not going to be able to just carry the game on his own. You can see Pikachu does a little bit of damage, but even with the turret helping out, only chunking the Volibear, not even bringing him down to half. And that's one of your strongest members. It's your second strongest member.
Yeah, this is starting to feel very scary for CSU. Cowrie was putting on a clinic. Professor Cowrie is in the building, but it doesn't feel like the rest of them really are, at least in this game. Maybe game 2 we fix some of these draft issues. But
yeah,
right
but we
now,
got to focus on game 1, my friend. 32 minutes into the game. It is not over yet. A quick pick, what this team specializes in if they catch somebody napping, could really buy them a lot of time, but they have that threat of this Chemtech Soul looming over their heads.
Yeah, Chemtech Soul is going to be one of the scarier souls for the Clown Gaming composition. They're really getting a helping hand from the map today, and I just can't see that pick coming out. We're seeing them stay way too close together here.
Yeah, it's really hard, right? Because we mentioned it in the pregame. Who are you going to pick? The only person is really Seraphine. Now, if you can get to Seraphine before she drops her ultimate, sure, but, Ezreal's got a shift. Obviously, Ahri's got 3 dashes, so maybe if you're Cowrie, you can still find a way to stay on that Ezreal, but almost anybody else, it's going to be hard. And because Maokai went Radiant Virtue, Maokai can't even get bursted out.
Yeah, this is a rough one, and it almost feels like it's got to be a 5-man pick at this point, which is extremely hard. Speaking of picks, we will see Cowrie taking a look at Funny Dud there. Most action we've seen in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, the game has really crawled to a snail's pace. Clown Gaming knows that they are back in this game, and they can really take this game 1, and they're being very careful with it.
Yep, and we see those Chemdrake empowered plants. Those boom plants, they really throw you far right now, and it's a little bit distracting to play around. Speaking of distracting, it looks like Funny Dud is going to be the target of choice. The Ignite is dropped. Cowrie is going to get the kill and be able to back up. But now here's Volibear jumping right into the middle of the team. On the other side, Pikachu has tried to go into their backline with little success. Going to get chunked out himself and have to retreat.
Ezreal just came out a couple seconds ago. It was already back up.
Already back up, and now we see the Chemdrake isn't even spawning yet. So this fight, it's still going on. They can't retreat from this. We will see.
Oh, Silver
Potato gonna get Slap Games out of the game for at least 30 seconds here. Looks like more like 50. And we're just waiting for the Chemdrake to spawn. On the other side, it looks like Cowrie is finding Shiba the
This
dog.
is exactly what they wanted. This is exactly what CSU needed. Cowrie has gone God mode.
Kaori is still going God mode. In fact, they're going to root down the bear.
They got
and the
him!
bear goes down. Now they're just hunting a tree. But
Oh!
trees aren't good eating, so they're going to retreat and hunt a dragon instead. Kaori getting locked down there. That scared me.
Arzakali, this was perfect. We mentioned Kaori needed to find a way onto Funny Dud without them using their ultimate. Had a bit of a fragmented engagement, and then they got more.
Speaking of fragmented engagement, Kaori trying to go in again. Going to be backed up by the Kaisa, who's going to get charmed in. She's looking real low, and she's looking lower than the dirt. That one didn't quite work out, but they did
6 feet under.
secure the Drake.
Yes, and that is massive. Kaori and Silver Potato, despite the fact that Silver Potato died, running distraction, making sure there was no way that they were going to give up that Drake. And now both teams are on Soul Point. That engagement there was perfect for CSU. It felt like they knew exactly what they needed to do to keep themselves in the game, and they executed it at a really high level. They have run into a problem, though. The Baron is up, and they are down an 80 carry right now. And their jungler's on the bot side of the map.
Clown realizes all of these facts as well, and they're going to run up to that Baron, get it started. CSU doesn't have an answer to this. I don't think they even know what's going on.
They have to have at least some idea that this is happening. And if they don't, they're going to find out in a couple of seconds at the very least.
Yeah, they just found out. And, you see Kaori retreating in the top lane. Yeah, I don't think they knew at all.
Oh, they found out the hard way. And I guess they don't know the audio cue that plays on Summoner's Rift when somebody's doing Baron. There is an audio cue. Most people don't pay attention to it. But regardless, now they're still in a bad way because once again, Clown Gaming is going to be able to get control of this map because, if you want to go split, their 1-3-1 is weaker than any other permutation that Clown Gaming can provide. And once they get control of the map again, it's going to be very hard to wrestle it away to try to secure that Chemtech Drake.
I don't think Clown wants to go 1-3-1. It looks like they're just going to barrel down mid and see how that goes.
Yeah, it looks like just a 3v3 right now, maybe a 4v4. See Kaori pushing in the waves, trying to be in a good spot to rotate, but the teams really just want to, NA RAM. That's what this region is known for, baby. This is why. Leagues like this, just NA RAM.
NA RAM indeed. And as the game is slowing down here, I have to ask, do we think we could call a winner at this point if you had to guess?
No, absolutely not. I have no clue who's going to win because if CSU gets another fight like they did in 5 minutes, the death timers are going to be too long. They're probably going to win the game.
It really is coming down to who blinks first, and I love it. I am absolutely here for it. I want to see who blinks, and it looks like Kaori is finding out that Shiba is going to blink first, but on the other side, there's a stopwatch. There's the charm. There's the roots. It was too much. Kaori goes down. There's your blink. And they're going to run Baron down mid lane.
Baited and outsmarted. So much damage onto Shiba, but did not have enough. And that Zed ultimate gives you plenty of time to hit your stopwatch. And the rest of the team surrounding that Zed and beating the absolute tar out of him.
That's going to be the mid lane turret coming down here in just right now. That's already good Baron value as we see top lane is getting pushed in pretty hard. There's the split push from King Kong. No one can really answer him either.
Yeah, they cannot stop this mid push right now. Silver Potato is doing whatever they can to try to clear out these minions, but taking a bunch of strays. This Provolution doesn't do a whole lot of damage outside of bindings, and Egashira it's a fool's errand to try to stop this Volibear in the top lane.
You can't get too close because you don't know what his claws be doing. And as long as Kaori's out of the picture, they don't have to worry about someone on their backline.
They've finally broken the base here. Clown Gaming is trying to get that inhibitor, but the respawns are here. Kaori, the savior, has returned.
Yes, Kaori is back and here to clear some waves. Not exactly what she was hoping to do. Top lane turret goes down, and now Egashira is just trying to pick a fight with King Kong. And it looks like he will get some backup from Silver Potato. In the mid lane, we will see the trigger is pulled. Pikachu going in, gonna find Shiba in the top lane. We will see the trigger is also pulled. Egashira is gonna find the kill on the King Kong. Back in the mid lane, Morgana's gonna go down. Zed hunting the Seraphine. They're gonna have to switch over to the Ezreal, but he can't do it. That's gonna be a triple kill. And all they've got left is Silver Potato and Egashira for defense. I don't think it's gonna be enough.
Slap Games is healing so much right now. It didn't look like they were going to be able to stay in, but maybe they could, although Tigsy is out of mana, so they've decided to pull off. And with this dragon up in about 10 seconds, Tigsy is taking a recall. I'd be jamming this Baron, ping it out. You can take that with Ezreal Seraphine.
That is scary, but it looks like Ezreal and Seraphine gonna be able to set up for this soul, and the only response is Silver Potato and Egashira. Everyone else, their cooldown timers are too long. They can't really wait. They need to get in there and at least disrupt a soul attempt, if not stop it outright.
Because Silver Potato was able to hear up, they pinged off. You do see Egashira in the area. They know that they can't do it. They want to ping it. They can't do it. Here comes a teleport from the Volibear, though, and they are looking for Silver Potato here. Slap Games. Close.
Ooh, it's getting very close here, but they were able to just delay it long enough. The Chem Drake is getting started right now. It's already down to half health. CSU's got to do something, but they're going to get locked down. Black Shield to prevent the charm. That's going to be the soul without really any blood spilt.
Yeah, Pikachu tried to land that Prey Seeker so they could get the ultimate and go in, but they got rooted up before the Black Shield could come out, so they never had a chance at a steal. And now this Volibear gets even more dangerous with this Chemtech Soul. The damage and the buffs for this Chemtech Soul are absolutely massive. They give so much.
They really do. And now what do you do if you're CSU? You're up against a team with a Chemtech Soul that really likes it. Barrett's
you fight for Elder Drake.
30 seconds.
You fight for Elder Drake. You wait. You hold out for 5 more minutes. You wait for Silver Potato to get more items, and you say, "All right, we're fighting Elder."
I don't know if they can wait for that though. If
I
they
agree.
Give over this next Baron, this base is gonna crumple.
But
here we go. There's Kauri going into the back line. He's going to try and find Sheba, but oh, it's just not enough. He's going to get locked.
Sheba's down.
Sheba is down due to a great snipe from Silver Potato. Funny Dud is going to take down Kauri, though, and now they are in retreat. The bear, the tree, they're hunting for Rek'Sai. Pikachu is just trying to get something on the other end. All he's going to do is pop a Guardian Angel, though. I don't think that's going to be enough. Slap Game's going to get the kill. And now it looks like this is going to be a free and clear Baron.
Yeah, Silver Potato couldn't get into the fight, but the biggest worry is that Kauri gets in there, drops the ultimate on Sheba, gets the pop when Sheba was low, and wasn't actually able to finish the kill on the Ahri, and then wasn't able to get out either. And then once they finally did, they were so low, they went back in just to try to get more damage in. And Silver Potato was just zoned from the jump on that fight. Just nothing that this Kai'Sa can do, although they are trying to take that inhibitor, they're not going to be able to.
They did get the tower, though, which is not nothing, but it's also not a whole lot when you're staring down a Baron and a Chemtech Soul. It might be enough for an extra item or two, which would help with the defense, but I'm not really seeing a path out of this for CSU at this point. It feels like they've scaled out.
Yeah, it is not looking good right now. You can see Tigsy is just full tank right now and still even does a fair bit of damage. Nobody is chewing through this Volibear Maokai combo. There's just too much physical damage on the side of CSU. It's coming back to bite them.
It really is, and very literally in the form of Volibear. He wants to get all the bites in, every single chunk, and now they just are left with the scary prospect of trying to wave clear against this and try to just delay the inhibitor take.
Is there anything they could do? But the roots get dropped down.
Miss Provolution already out. Darius trying to move in. He's trying to be a tank, and he's going to go down as well. Silver Potato going to find Tigsy, but at what cost? That's going to be a double for Slap Games, and now Kauri is in the middle of it all. He's going to go down. Triple for Slap. Triple. Quadra for the stub, and this game is going to the Spartans.
Let me ask you something. You ever been slapped by a clown, Arzakali? Because CSU just did.
Wow! Well, I guess we have to throw out that sub narrative at this point because he did a fantastic job this game.
Yo, listen, I mean, like everybody's had good subs, right? Occasionally I've had a good sub in my life. I had a sub today. It was frankly pretty good. We call them hoagies here, but that's okay.
Got
But
some meatballs in there.
no, I had a tuna sub because I'm a heathen. But talking about this victory screen here, you take a look at the damage profile for the side of Clown Gaming. I slap games 48k. Tigsy had 33k as a full tank. And sure, Cowrie had 61k, but the rest of the damage profile was not there to eat through this Volibear and Maokai. And this is the risk you run when you run full AD compositions. Sure, Kaisa does a little bit of magic damage. Sure, Morgana does do magic damage, but when you're only getting 16k from a Morgana and probably 30% of Kaisa's 25k being magic damage, it's just not enough.
Yeah, I'm looking at these stats. I'm trying to figure out what happened here. And the only thing I can say is they were outplayed. Clown Gaming Spartans, it was simply an outplay. It was close for a lot of the time. But when it wasn't close, it really wasn't close. That late game turned into a bit of a fiasco for CSU, where Cowrie was the only person who was able to get into a backline at all, and there was no front line for CSU on the other side to hold out while Cowrie did work.
Yeah, Egashira said, I have created a problem and I have no intents on fixing it. And King Kong absolutely ran through the rest of CSU.
Absolutely ran through. Well, hey, we'll talk about this game more on the other side of the break. But for right now, I think I need some water. I think you need some water. And I think all of us need a little bit of time to think about what in the world just happened. So we'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, everybody, to this series between the California State University and the Clown Gaming Spartans. Clown Gaming taking game one. And now we see that the California State going to the blue side for this game. With me is Yanni. Yanni, what are we thinking after that last game? What worked? What didn't work? Where are we now?
Well, I'll tell you what didn't work. A couple of things for the side of CSU. Number one, their full AD composition, right? So Cowrie was able to get ahead, but because the rest of the map wasn't quite there, I let the game just go far too long. And the Volibear picked up by King Kong, bang in the chest in the top lane, was a huge problem. Egashira got cracked like an egg, and were just left scrambled on the rift. So we got to see something change here. We need to see more diversity in the damage, and I think we need to see this Volibear off the board.
Yeah, I agree there. If I'm CSU, one of my first bans is this Volibear. And, a lot of the reason I think they won that last game was they were able to keep any bleeding from happening in the early game where CSU would have been the strongest. And I think a lot of that was the objective control. We saw them pick up the Rift Heralds. That was not nothing, I think.
Yeah, it was good objective control. That Rift Herald went all into the pocket of their sub 80 carry, who really had a fantastic game and closed it out with a quadra kill too. I'm very surprised to see that. It was a strong game from Slap Games, and they're looking to add more as we are into picking bans finally.
Yes, we have some bans coming out. CSU, first thing, top of their list, Maokai, off the board. We don't want to see it. CG answers with their same ban from last game in the Irelia. They just really don't like Irelia, I guess.
Listen, Cowrie is a scary Aurelia player. You have to take that away. I'm happy to see that Maokai taken off the board. It does surprise me that CSU were the ones to take it off because they do have first pick.
That is true. It was possible, but we also see Hecarim getting banned out here by CSU. Very jungle-centric. Zed is getting hovered for the Spartans. That is going to be confirmed. It looks like CSU targeting the jungle, Spartans targeting that mid lane.
Yeah, and if you're the Spartans, you have to consider yourself lucky that Cowrie did not run away with that game. That luckily your Volibear came into that one dragon fight and turned the game on its head, because Cowrie was running the Rift for quite some time. So we're going to have to see them on a different pick, but they still have a bevy of choices available. Katarina, they could even pick Ahri. I'd like to see their Azir, maybe see a control mage picked up.
Our last ban for round one of CSU, it's our newest top laner, Cassante. I'm a little confused at that one. I would have expected a Volibear ban if they were going to ban for top lane.
Yeah, maybe they want to pick up Volibear, or maybe they don't want to give away Cassante, and they're just like, you know what, we can deal with the Volibear, that's fine. If you want it, we have an answer to it. But it certainly is a risky choice. They could have left the Maokai open for themselves, but again, elected not to here. And an interesting first pick here because you only get half the setup.
That is very interesting to blind pick the Nami. Looks like the Spartans are going to respond by logging in Ivern for their mid lane. Also interesting to note the Spartans have banned out Seraphine. I'm not exactly sure why they did that either. Maybe they just didn't want to give her up. I have no idea where CSU is going with this, except maybe into a Lucian?
I mean, it has to be, right? You can't just take Nami and not pick up Lucian. It is such a super strong lane. Will be an Ivern lock-in with an Ashe. That's gonna be hard for Lucian to really do much of anything in these fights.
Yeah, that is a hard counter pick there. And Ashe, if it's support, if it's ADC, Ashe has been seeing a lot of good rift time lately. Those cooldowns lower than ever at this point with so many items to help with that. Ashe is starting to feel very scary again nowadays.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. There are multiple ways to play her. Some players have been favoring the Hail of Blades version of her to get off nice little burst trades, but there are still a lot of people who like the Comet availability on her. I'm personally a Comet enjoy on her. Sit back, fire some Ws, deal some damage. And the engagement for CSU is looking pretty sharp with their first two picks.
Yep, Sejuani coming in. I have to wonder if that's not an answer to the Ashe. Sejuani famously unable to be slowed. We will see the ADC picked up. It is Jinx, which a Jinx Nami bot lane. I've not heard of that one before.
This is pretty surprising. Jinx is like okay in the early game, isn't anything spectacular because her long range Q takes up a lot of mana and can really eat through it. And you don't really get to take advantage of the strength that Nami can give to an AD carry early. I'm really mystified by that, but I'm interested to see if this Ziggs pickup is to the bot lane.
That could be yeah. Ziggs ADC. You just reminded me that was a thing. And it can be a very powerful thing, especially with an Ashe support. That could be really interesting. I'm liking this look. We were talking about this. This draft was going to be interesting no matter what. And right now, it is exceeding all expectations. Spartans going to ban out Ornn in the top lane. CSU answering with Jax.
I'm still surprised that Volibear is left on the table here. I can't imagine CSU is going to just willingly give it over to Clown Gaming, but stranger things have happened. The big question that I have is, what is Clown Gaming going to take out in this mid lane? You know, you just continue to maybe pinch the pool, or you can try to make Egashira uncomfortable, which I think is what they're going for here. They're really primarily an Ornn Darius player. Nasus is the other option they have. I can't imagine that'll be the choice.
Nasus is benefiting a lot from the recent buffs, though. It wouldn't be a terrible choice. And there's the Volibear ban. There we go. Okay, there is some sanity left on this green earth.
Yeah, and now King Kong's pool has been pinched pretty hard as well. They're pretty good when it comes to playing Urgot, and that's a champion that once you get to like level 13, 14, 15, you become nigh unkillable, and it would give a really good option to the Spartans to just have an unkillable tank, but giving themselves a way to engage is also pretty good with a very annoying champion in the top lane.
I see your Ogo, and I raise you a Kled. And it really, Kled, Ziggs, this feels like the spirit of Clown Gaming Spartans, because really, this is a wacky comp. We're going to see it answered with a Mordekaiser of all things. Help me out, man. What is going on?
I actually love this Mordekaiser pickup. There are 3 targets that he can take into the Death Realm and just absolutely eat alive. He's not losing to Ivern and Ashe Ziggs unless something has gone horribly wrong.
This could get really interesting really fast. In fact, I think the only way this game goes is interesting. Now that we see our mid pick is gonna be Yone. Yone has not seen a lot of time professionally lately, but I can't imagine he's in a rough spot right now.
He was getting picked in the open qualifiers a lot over the last, over earlier today and yesterday. I saw a lot of Yone play that was very impressively high level, and it pairs pretty well with Sejuani Nami because that ultimate is just another way of getting more CC down. But we will see this lock-in that Orianna in the mid lane, she recently received some really big buffs, so that extra punch behind Cloud Gaming is going to be very much appreciated.
And speaking of crowd control, Orianna that's all she knows how to do, is control that crowd. I am interested, though, to see how she stacks up against a Yone that all Yone wants to do is close distance. And as we saw earlier, this mid laner is capable of some very high level play. So that's going to be a very fun mid lane. I can already feel my voice cracking from it. It's not happening yet, but it's coming, and I can feel it.
So, like I said, I saw a lot of Yone yesterday, and a couple of matchups that I saw from different teams was an Orianna into a Yone because it's a fairly safe laning phase. There is a little bit of danger of Yone able to full engage on you if they go into the Ignite. But most of these Oriannas were taking teleport. They would go, they'd empty out their mana bar, teleport back, and then generally be okay after that. Obviously, that's a big problem when you're going up against the manaless champion, is you can really get run out of mana quickly. But I like the way it fits into the composition. But the big thing that we really highlighted earlier but didn't mention, after that Orianna pick, this almost guarantees an Ashe Ziggs bot lane. I've never seen Ori support.
Just thinking the same thing. Ziggs as our ADC, Ashe taking up our support lane, and with all, like I mentioned earlier, with all of the items now giving you so much ability haste, Ashe that crystalline arrow out of Ash is down to something ridiculous, like 40 seconds. She's feeling like Lux in the support lane right now. And that is a scary place to be if you're going up against that, especially with what feels like a very disjointed bot lane coming out of CSU. This Jinx Nami, where do you think that's going?
It doesn't line up particularly well in lane, but nothing really does against Ashe Ziggs. The thing that I'm more concerned about as these lanes develop into team fights is CG Spartans. Most of the teams at this level of play struggle with playing the poke game. Ashe Ziggs is a perfect combination to play a poke game. You don't have a tank out of the Spartans, right? It's just Kled, who's pretty much a bruiser. So you really need to whittle down CSU before you try to go in with Kled and Orianna and drop the Wombo combo, right? You drop that Orianna ultimate because it can do so much. But most of these teams, like I said, are not proficient at executing these strategies. They line up, they don't poke, they don't whittle down, and they let themselves get willingly engaged on. And I have a feeling that's exactly what can happen because Nami, Sejuani, and even Yone can engage from strange angles and long distances.
That's true, but we did see last game the Spartans coming in with a lot of great poke in that bottom lane. It's one of the big reasons they were able to win in the end. So I'm not sure how this bot lane is going to go. I think we might see them win the bot lane early on, but and as we were talking about last game, we see something else happening here, which is the Cloud Gaming team doesn't really have a tank. Kled can be a tank, but it's not a real tank.
Yeah, and in the early game, it should be okay because Jinx, Mordekaiser, Yone aren't going to come on and deal a bunch of damage until later. But once you get later on into the game, I mean, they have inevitability on the side of CSU. Clown Gaming needs to really get ahead early and keep the pedal to the metal. Whereas CSU, all they need to do is just wait it out and not lose early too hard. The problem is teams are really bad at doing that too, where they just kind of fall behind and they keep taking fights and letting themselves fall further and further behind. But when you think about it, it's kind of a reversal of compositions here, not in a sense of like exactly what the compositions do, but the general thought process about what the teams want to do.
I was thinking exactly the same way. CG wanting to play much more to an early game when they were winning in the late game. Maybe they felt that that early game was a bit too out of control and they would like some control over that. And CSU, understanding that while they had control over the early game, they had almost no late game control whatsoever. So they're swinging to that side of the pendulum. It almost feels like an overreaction on both sides.
Yeah, and CSU is one of those teams that, I talked to them earlier in the season. Their goal is to be up 10K at 20 minutes. And that didn't happen in the last game, although they had a lead, and it was sizable for sure. But now it's a complete reversal of what they're used to doing. And I mean, given the fact that they're 2-3 right now, potentially staring at 2-4 in the face, changing it up might be exactly what they need, but getting away from what they're good at, it could be disaster. There's really no way of telling until we get into game.
And speaking of that game, we are going to take a break now. Wait for that delay to run out. When we return, Clown Gaming Spartans versus California State University East Bay, round 2, right after this.
Fight.
We in?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Alrighty. Sorry about that, folks. But we do see as we come back into this game, California State
collision
University
course?
versus, yes, a collision course versus Clown Gaming here. It's that 5-man invade again, this time on Clown Gaming's side. But it looks like they're not going to find even that ward that CSU found last time.
That's so disappointing. And, they used the sweeper and they get nothing out of it either. And, Kled doesn't even go over toward the top side or anything like that. No extra information was gained. Nothing of value was lost.
It's a slower game for sure. Well, that's what we said last time. So I may have just cursed myself. Speaking of curses, we were talking about which Ash variation we would see. It looks like it is going to be Hail of Blades.
Yep. Again, it's the more popular version. The problem is, though, when you've got a Ziggs down there with Comet, I think Double Comet would have just been a little bit better. But, different strokes for different folks. And as long as Funny Dud does a good job of trading while not taking damage, it's good. That's why I prefer the Comet Ash, because you get to hang back. Whereas this version requires you to be very careful on the amount of damage you take in a trade.
Yes. And we already see that poke starting to come out. It's a decent amount of poke out of Ash,
That's
actually.
A lot.
Yeah. And we see Tigsy doing what I
No
learned
shot.
to do. Coming
No
in
shot. Here
for
he
a
comes,
level
Tigsy.
2. Ziggs getting the ignite on him, and now we see this is everyone's on the wrong side. Silver Potato, he's trying to back up. Slap Game's gonna have to flash out of there, and now the Nami's gonna go down. Provolution goes down to Fuddy Dud.
And this is the problem with Jinx Nami. They are not strong enough to contend with this Ziggs Ash poke. If you had a Lucian, maybe you'd be able to turn on that Ash early on and done a lot of damage. There's a lot of summoners missing, though. An exhaust down, a flash down on the side of Clown Gaming. Meanwhile, an Ignite gone from Miss Provolution, but another gank up top.
Yep, speaking of things that are going down, King Kong's gonna lose his mighty steed, and that's all we're gonna see out of that one.
Yeah, no longer riding around on the tower up in New York. I guess he was on the Empire State Building. I'm not really a huge King Kong lore guy, but there's more.
Yes, it's still going to poke out here. We see
Tigsy is
Pikachu
here.
hanging around. Tigsy is here as well.
Egashira has no idea.
He's not even looking at the lane. Here comes Ivern now. He's going to get a little bit onto this Mordekaiser, put some brush in a brush. Ignite's going to come out of Kled, and they're just going to hunt him down now. Egashira having to back off. That's going to be a flash out of Tigsy to try and get the damage in, and he does. That's a big pickup for our friend in the forest.
They are down to Clown up in the top lane and the bottom lane. Tigsy has been all over the map so far. It's those long legs can get you where you want to go, but Pikachu is going to walk right into a trap.
Yes, it's a trap. And we see that he's going to go down very quickly. Kauri rotating up to try and return it. Ignite's going to get dropped onto King Kong. Is it going to be enough?
Oh, Kauri!
It will not. Kauri's going to go down to our big old friendly tree.
Oh, a little bit of help from the turret. The sixth teammate for the side of Clown Gaming coming up huge with that turret shot. Pikachu lucky to walk out alive, but I'm so surprised that Kauri didn't have the damage.
This early game is feeling very one-sided compared to last game. We see that they're even chunking Miss Provolution down to a point where this is scary bot lane for them. We were talking about that poke earlier, and they are delivering.
Yeah, Silver Potato and Miss Provolution this series have just been under their turret constantly. And again, it's just a better read on the meta for Clown Gaming here. Everybody is all about the bot lanes that push, that get pushing power at every level, whether it be pro, whether it be amateur. Getting the pushing power, getting the wards down, making plays elsewhere is the name of bot lane.
Yes, it is, and we see a big old wave crashing in now. That's a lot to deny, even though this Ziggs is down a little bit of CS. It feels good to try and deny some of that still.
Yeah, Ziggs might be down CS, but Silver Potato down that heal. Still has that flash available, and they should be okay, but because of this pushing power, That means that Tigsy and Funny Dud are on that Ocean Drake, which is such a great early Drake to get because of what it provides.
Well, hold up.
But Cowrie has a
check.
feeling that something's not quite right.
Oh, I'm scared for Cowrie right now. And we see in the bottom lane, Silver Potato trying to find out Slap Games. Looks like he's going to be able to do it. Slap's running for the hills, and he's going to go down. Cowrie ends up not actually pushing into that Drake yet, letting it get to a 3-man before she's going to pop in now, hunting down Fuddy Dud. It's not going to be enough damage, though. Fuddy Dud gets away.
Sheath the Sword says, nothing personnel, kid. And Funny Dud said, was that supposed to hurt? Now, the dragon picked up. Slap Games dying is really unfortunate. That allows Silver Potato so much breathing room. A kill up 17 CS as well. They were putting the screws to them, but because that dragon play took so long, the pressure eventually cracked in the bot lane.
It did, and interestingly enough, we see Slap getting an early Dark Seal here. That feels a little bit hopeful.
You know what? It does, but you figured that you almost got a kill while you were in a 2v1. Why not? Why not? You know what? Get a dank seal.
Get yourself a little seal there. See if you can't make some hay while the sun is shining. And at this point, this is a much quieter game than last round. CSU not really wanting to push forward with anything. Clown Gaming, they're making all the moves here. I think I'm speaking a bit too soon, actually.
Oh yeah, there's a 3-man goon squad in the top lane.
Cowrie gonna come in, big ult. Kled loses the mount. Ignite has been dropped. Cowrie gonna secure the kill.
Good gank from Pikachu. Finally gets somewhere where Tigsy wasn't and was able to make a play. Cowrie was able to get the push in, and a big problem for this Orianna is not having teleport available. Couldn't show up to help out. Has Ignite in a lane that they're not going to be able to make too much use out of.
That is true. I forgot to even look at that. And also, we see the Egashira getting a lot of push in the top lane, and we're 20 seconds out from the first Rift Herald. That's going to help with some setup as well if they decide to go that way.
Yeah, and they really can, because this Kled is in such a bad way, despite the okay scoreline. Down 15 CS right now, down a full level to Egashira. That's not where you want to be against a Mordekaiser. The strategy was looking really good early on for the side of Clown Gaming, but the last two plays have certainly given life to CSU.
Speaking of life-giving, it looks like, yeah, Tigsy is trying to find a little something on the back end there. Just a little bit of pressure. It's not going to result in anything, though, but I like the look.
Yeah, they're trying to chip down this turret as much as possible, but it's not doing a whole lot, to be honest with you. They've gotten one plate, which is fantastic, but they sequestered off Revolution.
That's going to be a big flash coming out of Silver Potatoes. Slap Game's going to have to back up there, but that was a very worthy flash.
It was a big bubble by Miss Provolution to ensure that they did not go down. Look at what's going on here. Pikachu knows something's going on. They're going to interrupt Tigsy there. Kind of a strange decision, but a fight in the bot lane.
Yes, in the bot lane, we do see Funny Dud. He gets an Ignite dropped on him. He's going to have to flash out of there. He will survive, however. Both sides getting very low.
Oh, Pikachu's here!
Pikachu is here! And he's hunting for an old friend. That's going to be a big blizzard. And now, Slap Games, what can he do here? It's 3v1. He's in a bush. I don't think he's really got an out. He is going to try and hop over the
He got no mana, he got no flash, the tidal wave!
The tidal wave isn't going to hit. And he isn't going to get Silver Potato on the other end either.
Pikachu.
That's a big pickup for Silver Potato. Oh, speaking of careful, Tigsy is here as well. He was hoping to make some hay, and now he's sending the boar off back into his own jungle.
Hey, listen, Pikachu doesn't care. Call them John Cena because the champ is here.
That is a lot of damage coming out. Nami coming back in as well. He's hunting this one down to the very end. He's looking for some truffles in the top lane. King Kong is going to be very... oh, that's the Ignite dropped. And that is him going to go down. Ivern, though, he's overchased. Tigsy will go down to Cowrie now.
And this game has been turned on its head. California State University needed just a little bit of time to get things going. Down 4 kills to nothing, have gotten 6 straight kills, and Clown Gaming has no response.
No response, and Kaori being very disrespectful here, sitting under her own turret with something like 200 health against Shiba, just being disrespectful.
And Shiba has ultimate and ignite. I don't understand. Just fire your Q, fire the ultimate. It does so much damage. It got buffed.
It really does, and it's just not happening. Maybe Shiba's just a bit too scared of him.
Has to be feeling the itis right now. Kaori managed to survive in that fight, but another fight up top.
Yeah, speaking of, Eggshell got a long way from that one.
I had to. He said it, and I really just had to. I couldn't help myself.
I know, that's my fault. But yeah, Egashira gonna walk away from that one. King Kong proving he's still in this lane, even if he is just riding a little dinosaur.
Look at my horse is amazing. Come on, you know that. First mythic of the game coming out. It's going over to Ivern, and that's a huge play. But look at the ult.
Crystalline arrow. That's that crystalline arrow I was talking about. Slap Game's gonna lock in that Nami.
Such an incredibly potent combo out of the bot lane. We saw Funny Dud was only level 5 in that recent fight in the bot lane. Now level 6. The setup ability that they have now to make plays has gotten much bigger.
Oh, it has almost quadrupled. And you know, that crystalline arrow is already half back.
Yeah, it's got such a low cooldown, man. They really need to nerf that thing. It's almost as bad as Rumble ult. What was it? Was it early last season when he was in the jungle? That might have even been the season before. But regardless, I mean, some of these ultimates are on such low cooldowns for what they do in the hands of great players.
Absolutely true. And now we see that the Rift Herald, Pikachu trying to pick it up solo, Egashira gonna rotate down to help him out with that. This is starting to look very scary because now that Ashe is online, and that's a full field online.
Yeah, that is some very scary stuff here. Tigsy in the bot lane maybe wants to make a play. We see that Rift Herald got picked up top, so cross-map play is definitely what you want here. Ashe has ult available too. There's a chance they can just pull the trigger.
And up top, the pings are coming out. They're hunting for King Kong. It looks like we're setting up 2 fights at once. And my poor voice. Egashira pushing King Kong under his own turret. Looks like they're going to opt not to do that. Tigsy's going to opt not to move in as well. Everyone's gonna back off a little bit. Be nice to me. Thank you.
See, trading is getting a little bit better for the side of CSU. The Jinx is starting to get a little bit more power behind them. Close to a mythic, obviously not quite there yet, but you can see the damage is coming in. And Summoner's burnt in the bot lane. A good ultimate out of Slap Games.
Yep, that was a big one to burn some flashes there. Miss Provolution flash has been burned. Rift Herald getting dropped up top, and we see Pikachu, Egashira, both of them are here to fight King Kong. King Kong's gonna get stunned out just outside of turret range, but they're not gonna close it off. The Rift Herald is down at this point. Mordekaiser gonna pull him back. Kaori getting a kill in the mid lane during all of that. King Kong also going down. That's gonna be 2 for 0. And now in the bot lane, this Jinx is getting hunted down. That's gonna be a big wave to keep her alive.
Great stuff across the map for the side of CSU. A solo kill in the mid lane, a big play in the top lane, and that wave to disengage the gank on the bottom side. They're winning in all facets right now.
I'm really concerned for Silver Potato because Ashe just got that crystalline arrow back up and she was looking for it. That could have been a big snipe. Oh no. Speaking of big snipes, here's Kaori wanting to get fed, gonna get stunned out. And not even gonna find the kill actually. And now Kaori's having to run from Slap.
Yeah, but they can just walk away. They just don't care. Just running it out. It's no big deal. Pikachu could be in trouble here, though. There's the Kled ult.
Yep, Kled's coming in. Oriana. There's that ulti. We were just talking about that. Ulti, ignite, easy clap. Didn't even need the Kled ult.
Kled is like that one teammate you have that, you know the meme with the 3 dragon heads, right? And the one just looks super silly. That's Kled right there. You know, Oriana's just like looking over at him and Kled just sticking his tongue out, riding by. Yeehaw!
It helps.
It gave movement speed. It gave movement speed. Yeah, it gave movement speed. Actually, no. It didn't even get an assist. It did not give any movement speed. Kled was 0, 1, and 2 at one point.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
And nothing of value was lost.
And speaking of value, Kaori is trying to find a little bit of a pick. Tigsy gonna scare him off of that. Mid lane returns to normal. And we see Buddy Dud starting to do a lot of good roaming here. And I think they're gonna try and cut off that bottom lane, but it's too soon to tell.
Yeah, and I don't even know if they're going to be able to, right? They're posturing to be so strong here, but Mythics are finished on all of the major members of the side of CSU, and they are ready to brawl because they know this dragon's coming up.
Yep, Dragon is coming up very shortly here. It is going to be a Chem Drake Soul again on the board. Oh, and we will see Pikachu trying to get an ultimate off, going to miss Tigsy there. That is a big ultimate to burn right before a dragon fight, and it does not have those infamously short cooldowns we were talking about.
Right, and there are still good ultimates on the side of Clown Gaming, but there's an engagement.
Yep, there we go. Ash going down. Pikachu picking up that kill. Ziggs on the run. Mordekaiser wants his blood, and he's going to get it without much problem. That's going to be an easy dragon take.
Yeah, all of the carries are fed right now. Arzakali, a 3-1-1 in the top lane, 3-1 in the mid lane, 2-1 in the bot lane. Shutdowns aplenty, and if Clown Gaming can't claim those shutdowns soon, CSU's going to run away with this one.
Yep, King Kong in the top lane. He's going to return a tower there. Kaori trying to do a little something in mid lane, gonna chunk Shiba down to half, and Shiba is gonna have to back off there, and that's gonna be first Drake for CSU, which, can you imagine a quadruple chem stack? That's gonna be nasty.
I can't imagine a quadruple chem stack because it looks like the way this game is going, it's going to be full control for CSU. They're going to be able to do whatever they want. Remember, we talked about how hard they scale. Well, guess what? Their scaling got accelerated, and they lost hard in the early game, but not hard enough. Clown Gaming Spartans, too many missteps, too many mistakes, and now they're behind the 8 ball 18 minutes into the game.
Yep, and we also talked about this. This is what happens when the two teams switch up their philosophies. They literally traded. Last game, CSU wanted that early game, and they lost. And this game, Clown Gaming wanted that early game, and they end up losing that early game, and now they don't have control going into 20 minutes.
Yeah, it just seems like these teams that want to take control of the early game, they put their pedal to the metal, but they don't know how to be tempered with their aggression. They get too brazen, and they make too many mistakes. So it's really overall going to be who makes the fewer mistakes, and that's what a lot of games come down to.
Yep, and there are still many mistakes to be made here. King Kong gonna lose his mount, but it looks like he will be able to get away from Egashira. Crystalline Arrow going to miss Provolution in the bot lane, though. It looks like Silver Potato gonna have to get out of there. Kaori jumping into the back line is not going to find the kill. Sejuani now coming in on the other side of that, managed to get the lockdown. Kaori gonna find the kill onto Ash. Ivern looking low. Egashira gonna pick that one out of the Spectral Void, and oof, that's a Herald. That's going to be a mid-turret and a Herald, looks like.
Here comes Gled!
Until King Kong comes in, he's looking at the Nami, gonna catch her up. That's gonna be an easy kill for Kled. On the other side, that's gonna be shut down on the Kaori. Shiba finally getting some sweet revenge. Slap Game's gonna be able to get out of the Mordekaiser, and oh my gosh, King Kong, that's a big shutdown. 800 gold now up against Pikachu, and he gets his mount back at just the right moment. Gonna be a double kill for King Kong. Clown Gaming still in this one, and it's going to be their mid-turret and maybe a Herald.
This is huge for Clown Gaming. They were down 2k before their fight didn't go that way. It looked so depressing. Shiba couldn't close out a kill on that Jinx. Then that mid lane fight happened. It was a huge tidal wave from Miss Provolution that allowed them to dive the turret. They got everything they wanted, but Kled the hero coming in, Shiba the dog making a good choice to get to the mid lane fight as soon as possible, able to clean up the scraps, and now have evened up the goal at 20 minutes.
And you know what else? King Kong did get the assist credit.
King Kong, not only assist credit, got a couple of kills under their belt. I think they picked up 3 in that fight.
At least a double kill for sure popped up. Maybe 3. I need a replay on that one to be sure. But that's
out of our budget.
Showing. Yeah, that is out of our budget. If you wanted to be in our budget, no, I'm not going to do that. Anyway.
No. If you wanted to be on our budget, listen, we are affiliated now. There should be a subscribe button down there. That's it.
Yes, there should.
That's it. That's the only time we're going to plug it.
Yep, that is the plug.
Unless we get told to plug it more, in which case we will plug it more, but we shouldn't plug it that
we are
much.
Dutiful in that way.
We're nice guys, you know? We sit here, we cast, we call games like this, all for your enjoyment, because let me tell you something. High-level League of Legends is really fun, but League of Legends like this is also a blast.
Yeah, the high-level stuff, you're seeing clinics being put on. But at this level, you're seeing something greater, which is the joy of the game. We're not min-maxing characters. We're playing what feels good. We're making comps based on pure gut instinct. And we get to see what happens. You don't get to see this kind of play in the pro games because everyone's playing the same 10 champions. You're not seeing that here. And it's so much fun. In the bottom lane, we will see Kauri trying to put down King Kong, but he is going to run out of time there. Oh, the ultimate barely misses. Good flash out of King Kong, but it is not going to stop.
He can turn this.
He can turn this. There is the mount. Yone getting slapped up. Kauri goes down. Big tidal wave coming out in the mid lane. Not going to really find anyone, but that is the pick they needed going into this next dragon coming up 30 seconds.
Listen, that's why these games are so great. You never know what's going to happen. I pegged King Kong for dead, but such a fantastic outplay. These games have all the entertainment of your solo queue games with none of the pressure of losing LP.
Speaking of that LP, Kled trying to hold on to his desperately. His mount getting crushed out now. And here's Tigsy to back him up. Mordekaiser going to pull him in. Kled looking very low. That is going to finally be it. On the other hand, though, Miss Provolution going to go down there. And now Egashira all alone. There's no one there beside him.
Cloud Gaming Spartans I feel like I've used this phrase so much, but they've turned the game on its head now too. They were getting absolutely routed after their early lead, and they have come back with a vengeance now. This Kled King Kong is unlocked.
Kauri gonna jump in, looking for that Orianna, gonna jump back out when he realizes he's a bit too matched. Gonna get the Ignite from Sheba dropped on him though. Big Summoner Burn.
And that is sole point for Cloud Gaming Spartans, and Kled can make huge use out of it. Remember, Kled's mount is a shield. It's not part of HP as far as I'm concerned, right? Am I incorrect on that? I actually do not remember if that's a part of his HP or not.
I need to check. I used to play Kled quite a lot. I believe the mount does benefit from HP. I believe it is part of HP pool.
So, okay, so this is a large amount of his HP. So he doesn't get the greatest bonus in the world with a Chemtech Soul. But we've seen Kled scrap low enough to, we saw in that last fight against the Yone, right? So strong. Yes. And just being able to dump out more damage and take less when you're that low and you get remounted is just a great way to just run it in fights. I mean, we saw what happened with the Volibear. You can expect the same sort of thing out of this Kled.
Yep, Kled's biggest strength really is looking like he doesn't have anything going on, when in fact, he has an Ashe over the wall with the crystalline arrow. They're going to be hunting down this Mordekaiser now, but Kled, he went in a bit too far. He's going to get bubbled up, and here is the rest of his team. Tigsy here to help. Kled's off his mount. He needs to get that back fast, but it's not happening. They're going to retreat now. Mordekaiser still chasing it down, and there comes Kauri on the back line. Egashira going to find the kill. Kauri looking for anything, not gonna find it.
And look, Orianna's on the side trying to find a way in, has that ultimate available and had to flash out.
That's gonna be the flash out, gonna get the Ignite from Kauri on her as well. They're fighting over this Baron now, folks. And
Sheba!
Oriana jumps into the Baron pit. It's gonna be a big
Ziggs!
Silver Potato gonna find a kill, but it's gonna be responded to by Mr. Slap Games, getting a bigger kill on the other side. He's getting low though. That's gonna be a big rocket. Silver Potato's gonna find him, and now we just have 2 supports on the run, but everyone's too low a health to start a Baron.
Sheba the dog, you wildebeest, going into the pit. All of a sudden, from out of the fight to in the front line, drops the ultimate down. Combine that with the Ziggs ultimate plus the bomb was a sweet double kill, but then Slap Games, a little too big for their britches, decided to push forward, had all the confidence in the world, and got fly swatted by Silver Potato. This Jinx is starting to get big.
Yep, still, that combo kept that Baron from getting taken. Bars were too low to even attempt. Helps reset a little bit, refocus on that soul point coming up here in a couple of minutes.
And it's going to get real wild with 1 minute and 40 seconds until that soul point. This Jinx trying desperately to finish that Infinity Edge. I don't think they're going to have the goal to quite get there, sitting at just 300, so they're gonna have to leave that off the board. And 80 carries I think have fallen into the trap. Infinity Edge procs at 40% now, right? Like, Jinx is one of those 80 carries that as you're in the fight, you'll get more attack speed if you're in your minigun. You don't necessarily need the attack speed of that Phantom Dancer. You could have just went and gone for that second item Infinity Edge and been much stronger, but opting to get that 3-item power spike, and there's that ultimate drop down.
That's a big blizzard on the Slap Games, but he's going to be able to make it out of there with most of his health still intact. This is very front to back here. Crystalline Arrow going to find Pikachu. It's not really a great target, though. Not a whole lot of damage to be had there. Ash going to get pulled in by the Mordekaiser, and now we see the Ignites coming out. They want this Ash. Egg Sheera gets the kill. Kled moving into the back line now. He wants Mordekaiser. Sheba the dog is going to take down Egg Sheera. That's going to be the kill. Sejuani now getting hunted down. Ziggs is back. That's going to be a flash over the wall. It's the last 2 left alive. Kled gonna follow Jinx over her own roll. That's gonna be an easy kill. And we're still chasing Pikachu all the way up to the Baron pit. Ziggs gonna pop himself forward. I think at this point, though, they have to back off. And they're gonna start a 4-man Baron.
And what a fantastic shockwave from Sheba the dog, being patient in that fight. The patience pays off. Catches Egashira, Kaori, and the Nami, instantly throwing the fight off kilter, dealing so much damage, and it was a quick and easy cleanup. Made it a 5v2 from there, and they've gone for the split call here. The Baron has been picked up, but Pikachu's heading to the bot side, wants to pick up this Drake. It's still got a lot of HP, though, so there's going to be no way that Pikachu can get it.
That's the Crystalline Arrow coming out of the Ash. Pikachu's the only person here. Ziggs gonna teleport down to secure the kill. This is
the rest of the team's here
as well.
The rest of the team is here. There's no smite.
There's no smite on either side. Mordekaiser.
Ivern's on his way.
Right in. Ivern is coming in. There comes the wave. Not gonna find anyone. Just gonna push him off a little bit longer. Kaori.
Smite's here.
To go down. Here is the
smite. It. Secure it. Ivern.
Smite it.
Ivern does secure it.
That's the soul point. Tigsy gets the smite.
Oh, that was so sketchy. Tigsy took their eye off the ball for 1 second. Kaori desperately tried to take out that dragon, was unable to. Will they go after Silver Potato? No, they had peeled off. It would have been a good pick.
The Crystalline Arrow did connect, but they just weren't in place to really capitalize on it. So that's Baron. That's Soul. That's Chemtrake Soul for Clown Gaming. That's looking scary.
Oh yeah, it is big scary. That Jinx shutdown got claimed. It's a 2,000 gold lead for Clown Gaming right now, as they've done well to grit their teeth and take every advantage they can. These last few fights for CSU have just not come together. It feels like Kaori, Miss Provolution, they're not on the same page. Their ultimates aren't landing on multiple targets and creating a lot of chaos, because Sheba the dog has had plenty of time in these fights to wait and be patient. Much like a quarterback with a strong offensive line, sitting back there, waiting to strike when the moment is right, and has been huge in carving out a lead for Clown Gaming.
You mentioned that gold lead. Do you want to take a guess as to who has the most of it on Cloud Gaming?
Without looking at it, I'm gonna say King Kong probably.
You are correct. King Kong by about 700 over Kaori. Speaking of, looks
Could
like,
be more.
Yes, Ziggs is going to get caught out by the Sejuani.
There he is from the side.
There's Kled coming in. Pikachu getting chunked really low. And
This is a 5v4.
yeah, it's a 5v4. Kaori taking inhibitor on the bot lane while Pikachu is getting hunted down. King Kong has to return to answer it now. That is going to be the tower, though. That is bot lane tower. Inhibitor opened up. Big gold coming out.
That means it's a 4v3 up here, and Miss Provolution getting poked out. Here's the engage.
Crystalline arrow onto Egashira. Slap game. Gonna find Miss Provolone on the back side. Gonna be a double kill for him as well. Gonna be this tower traded for that one. King Kong still hunting on the top side as well. He's got the Baron buff, but no mount. If he gets that mount back fast enough, he's going to be able to make this work. Kaori trying to find some damage here. Kled just trying to get his bar back. There it is. Kaori's going to go down for the cheeky play. Inhibitor taken in the top lane. I think Clown wants to finish this right now.
They don't have super minions anymore, but they do have Pikachu and Silver Potato to contend with. But you know Ziggs can blow up these turrets real quick. There's only one Nexus turret left.
And it's going down real fast. That's half health. Is going to get pushed off by Pikachu. They're going to think better of pushing too hard. But even as I say that, King Kong's leading a wave into the spot turret. Cloud got everything they wanted from that interaction and a little bit more.
The base is in shambles for CSU. There's no further engagement to be had. And now somebody's got to try to go toe-to-toe with this Kled who just took another turret. Remember, the gold lead was barely under 2K and is now expanded to about 4 off of that play. Sure, Kaori was able to pick up a couple of turrets and claim some objective bounties, but leaving their team to lose a 5v4, and then their team was down into a 5v3, it was just never going to work.
Okay, it's time to start theory crafting. CSU, how do you get back into this game?
So the good news for CSU is that their team provides a lot of spacing. If Mordekaiser can get the Orianna or this Kled out of a fight, you have to get one of those out of a fight. Sejuani, Nami, and Yone can provide good space to let Jinx cook a little bit, right? 4-2-1, has 3 items, has a stopwatch. It is cooking time. If they have enough space, they can win a team fight with a couple of fortunate crits.
It's gonna be a hot day in the kitchen here. We're gonna see the pots get turned up to 11.
What are they doing to the pots?
They're gonna get turned up, man. I don't know.
I heard something. It didn't sound very holy out of you, my friend.
Pikachu having to dodge the crystalline arrow there as we see Clown Gaming. They want to go down this mid lane. They want to finish this off.
They're looking. They've got it right in the back of their hand. They're covering up. They're looking to get the final pie in the face as they're pushing down the mid lane right now with plenty of poke. They are executing their strategy well, and they were in that earlier siege. You could see it, but here comes Kaori. Huge ult!
Big ulti. Big wave following it. That slap game's down. There's that zig down that we were talking about. King Kong gonna return it onto Kaori. Crystalline arrow onto Egashira. And now Kled's just trying to follow it up. It's not gonna be enough though. He's lost his mount. He is gonna get the kill onto Egashira.
He's remounted.
He's remounted. Sejuani looking very low.
Oh, he's
Kled's get out of there.
Oh, he's still alive!
Somehow still alive!
The minions are pouring into the base! They can't stop this! The health bars are too strong!
Kled just trying to... He's pushing it, man. Elder Dragon coming up now. That's 2 inhibitors down. Clown Gaming is going to say, that's good enough, and they're pinging for the Baron.
It's not quite the pie in the face, but they grab the seltzer water and spray him down in the base. 2 inhibitors down. Their jungler is here. They don't have too much damage onto this Baron, but I don't think CSU really cares. They just have to clear out their base. The Ziggs teleport will give them enough damage to take this Baron in a reasonable amount of time, but you can see they're going toward the Elder Drake.
This is gonna be so fun. We're gonna see a Baron buff and maybe an Elder Drake fight. This is what we
There's
are
no
here
jinx.
for.
There's no more. There's no teleport for the side of CSU. Somebody has to stay in the base. They can't join the fight and teleport back. Here comes the Cledel. The whole team is speedy.
Coming in hot. They're coming in real fast. CSU just has to abandon ship. They can't do this. We're gonna see
Pikachump's got to be a hero.
He's gotta be a hero, but he doesn't have his flash. He's got to jump over the wall. Here he go, over the wall.
Goes in.
3,000.
It's a smite
Lands
fight.
the ult. It's a smite fight, and they're gonna lose. Sejuani now. Oh my gosh, Slap Game somehow survived that. Pikachump will give his life. That is Soul. That is Elder. That is Baron. That is a big kill onto their bulkiest member.
And let's be real. Let's be real, Arzakali. That is game.
That is gonna be game. Coming in on paper, this shouldn't have been the result, but it absolutely is the games we were given, and we're gonna march that all the way into this last Nexus turret.
It's a 4v4 right now. It's got to be the final stand.
Led moving Min to the back. He's gonna get the execute onto Jinx. No, Jinx is gonna get away. He's gonna get demounted. Agashira trying to get a return kill onto him.
Holy!
Get it!
Oh my
That
god!
was a major shockwave coming out of Oriana. 4 big kills. Quadra kill for Sheba. Quadra kill for Slap. And that is gonna be the series.
Yo! I know the Nexus was exposed and they were backed up to their fountain, but Jesus, man, what a shockwave out of Sheba the dog, who it felt like they had such a quiet early game and they really came through in the mid game with some clutch shockwaves, and they put the cherry on top with a 3-man shockwave, blasting 3 members away simultaneously with that dragon's breath, and then able to pick up the last one to really put the exclamation point on the game. Clown Gaming Spartans, a huge 2-0 victory here that really shakes up the standings.
You know, these clowns prove that the tuition for clown school is just as good as the tuition for California State. This was a blowout. Both games, the early game went to CSU. And Clown Gaming said, I don't care about that. I'm just going to win. And that's what they did. We see massive amounts of damage coming out of them. These guys, they look so diseven on paper. But paper never tells the whole story, does it?
Not quite. I don't think these teams were as far apart as we thought. And this match really showed it. Maybe it's even in the other direction. Clown Gaming, still a lot of holes in their game if they want to compete with some of the best teams in the league. But I like the way that they showed grit and toughness to make sure that they stayed in games that they got behind in early.
Absolutely. And you know, we are going to talk to some of the members of Clown Gaming Spartans right after this short break. Stick around. We will be back with our victors very shortly. Welcome back, everybody. We are joined here by our victorious mid laner from Clown Gaming Spartans. We've got Sheba the dog here with us. Sheba, thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So, in these two games, there was definitely one where you had a lot more control over the mid lane. In the second game, what was your approach coming up against Cowrie after that first game? How did you avoid getting tilted by that first game performance?
Um, well, not gonna lie, in the first game, my team did really good, like kind of carry the game. To be honest, I got keep ulted by the Z. The second game, I think he like would like to do the same thing, so he picked Yone again for like a eco champ. So I was just playing around the team instead for the second game. So I picked Oriana and into our Zik combo,
Yeah,
and it worked out.
yeah, just gotta make the smart picks. Yanni, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I was really impressed with the Oriana play. Tell me how easy it was it to kind of time your ultimates in that game, because I play a lot of Oriana, and sometimes you want to hold out for the big ultimate, and sometimes it's better to just get it on one or two. So how razor thin was your decision making when it came to just going like, all right, this is when I'm dropping my ultimate, because you turned a huge amount of fights, and I honestly think you were the big reason why your team was able to come back.
Yes. In teamfight, I see them like cluster around a lot. So I usually time for my ult for like around the ADCs on Nami because they have like the two big frontliners. So I just usually run around and try to sneak around ult the backliner.
Oh, that makes total sense. I like that line of thinking because you can really make things happen like that. I also had a quick follow up question. So, what made you want to go ignite this game as opposed to something like maybe Ghost or Teleport?
Um, I honestly I think because 'cause they have I prefer like ignite so I can make some plays
Mhm.
in like a solo and silent also.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to be out here making plays.
Yeah.
And hey, it worked out. Clean 2-game victory here. What do you guys think? What is your message for your next opponents?
Um, I I I hope you guys we will get clowned on.
Get clowned on, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful, beautiful. Sheba, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure watching you work. Yanni, do you have anything else for him before we let him go?
Listen, how can I follow up a question with that? Get clowned on, Sheba. Thank you so much for your time and congratulations on your victory.
Thank you, thank you.
To all of you watching from home, thank you for joining us today. We hope you had as much fun as we did. And thank you for watching Clown Gaming Spartans, our victors for tonight. Thank you, everyone. And that's going to be good night from me. Yanni, you got anything for the people at home?
I got nothing for the people at home. We'll see you soon on the next broadcast, though.
Apps.